Honda, the 800-pound gorilla of the motorcycling industry. This company has sold more motorcycles in 2021 than any other manufacturer, by a mile. Come to think of it, it's sold more vehicles than any other motor company in the history of the planet, and its Super Cub is the highest-selling motor vehicle of all time. Impressive. But I have some contacts, and a little birdie told me that the highest-selling Honda motorcycle these days is the Grom, which probably makes it the current best-selling bike on the planet. So what's so special about this bike, and why does it produce more smiles than any other motorcycle? Brooke and I had one for a week, and we were able to test this little spark plug of a bike in a variety of environments. This gave me a chance to judge it against all of the other mini motos out there, most of them Hondas. Is it better than the other tiny bikes, and if so, why? Stay tuned for the answer, and if you're enjoying the video, please consider helping out the channel by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. Funny, the last bike I tested had 200 horsepower, and was followed by one that had less than 10. And this one is just as fun in its own way. Mini motos are all the rage these days, and most of them are produced by Honda. Check out my mini moto comparison from last November when I got to ride a bunch of them back to back, link in the top right corner. The Honda Super Cub has been in continuous production since 1958 and is the highest selling motor vehicle of all time, surpassing the 100 million unit sale mark in 2017. In 2014, Honda took the Cub's 124.9cc engine and put it in a new mini moto called the Grom. And man, did they hit it out of the park, because this bike's sales went ballistic. The success of the Grom motivated Honda to reintroduce the Monkey, the Trail, the Dax, and also the Navi, which I recently reviewed at its North American launch, video in the top right corner. But despite all of this competition, most of it from other Hondas, the Grom continues to outsell the other mini motos and dominate the class, and Brooke and I found out why during our week with it. It is just more motorcycle than the others. First, some specs. The Grom is powered by an air-cooled single-cylinder 125cc 9.7 horsepower 7.7 pound-feet of torque engine mated to a new for 2021 5-speed gearbox. 2020 and before models used to have 4 speeds. The suspension is non-adjustable and consists of an adorable little inverted fork and single rear shock with 4 inches of travel at both ends. The display, which was updated in 2021, is the same one Honda uses on several of its more expensive models and includes plenty of info, including a gear indicator and a fuel gauge. The wet weight of the bike is 227 pounds. Fuel capacity is 6 liters or 1.59 gallons, and the mileage is, hold on to your socks, 134 miles per gallon or 1.76 liters per 100 kilometers. Yup, you heard that right. This little bike can get well over 300 kilometers out of that 6-liter tank, more than my Tenere 700 gets out of its 16 liters, and more than Brooke's CRF 300L Rally gets from its 12.8 liters. And those are ADV bikes built for travel. The price? In Canada, the Grom lists for $39.50 for the base model in red and $41.50 for the tricolor with ABS and those sweet gold wheels. In the States, prices range from $3,500 to $3,800, and Americans get a couple of extra color options. As nice as the tricolor is, I'd go for the red non-ABS model so I could slide that rear wheel. So what's the Grom like to ride? It is a dynamic motorcycle. The tiny wheels, aggressive geometry, and rider seating position are well balanced, making the handling telepathic. Think about changing direction and you're there. Nimble doesn't even begin to describe this bike. It bolts into corners and the turning radius is ridiculous, and it's relatively stable at speed. Top speed varies with wind resistance, rider weight, body position, and whether you're going up or downhill. Tuck in and you'll see 100 kilometers per hour or 62 miles per hour on the flat, but that speedometer is definitely very optimistic. The smaller you can make yourself, the better, and a good tail or headwind will make a difference. The reason there are Grom group rides and why they're so fun is that you can literally race these bikes on the street without breaking the speed limit. Who's first comes down to skill, as drafting and slingshotting past your friends has you feeling like a NASCAR driver, and corner speed and maintaining momentum is crucial for staying with the group. It's the only motorcycle that encourages you to skip that donut so you can be the first one up the hill on the group ride. But wait, you say, aren't the other mini motos just as fun? Not on pavement, they aren't. The Kawasaki Z125 Pro is basically a Grom clone, but is behind in the tech department. It still has 4 gears and needs an update. The Honda Monkey is almost a Grom, but its seating position is more cramped and the rider sits further back on the bike, which makes for good handling, but not as crazy sharp as the Groms. The Navi is automatic and has less power and poorer brakes. Yes, it's super inexpensive, but you get what you pay for. The Super Cub Trail 125 and Dax have the same engine as the Grom, but all have semi-automatic 4-speed transmissions that feel more scooter-like. Additionally, with their bigger wheels, the Cub and Trail are less nimble than the Grom, though they do feel slightly more stable in a straight line. If you intend on going off-road, the Trail 125 or the Monkey might be better choices for you, but on pavement the Grom is king. It handles better, has a roomy seating position, a manual 5-speed gearbox, and is just more fun to ride. At least that was my impression after I rode the Navi, Monkey, Super Cub, and Grom back to back. An additional feature of the Grom is its 2-up ability. Brooke and I found that it's fine at zipping around town 2-up. Don't expect it to rocket up hills or maintain highway speeds with 2 people on it, but it can definitely carry 2 adults a short distance. And so, utility seems to be a strong point for the Grom. With its narrow bars and short first gear, it makes a perfect city commuter. It can squeeze through tight spaces and rocket away from cars at lights. If you live in a city where lane splitting is legal, even better. In downtown London or New York City, this thing can probably outrun a liter bike. The crazy mileage that it gets means you'll not have to fill up much, and with its smaller size you can always find parking or even bring it up to your apartment to keep it safe from thieves. Sometimes we live in a bubble in the West where we come to believe that an 883cc almost 600-pound motorcycle is small, and we all need 100 horsepower. But in the majority of the world, a bike like the Grom is not a fun toy but rather practical, efficient, and inexpensive transportation, especially with today's gas prices. But, of course, the reason that it sells so well in Canada, the US, the UK, and other Western nations is that it is also a fun toy. It's a hoot to ride. Brooke rode it and didn't want to get off. She was amazed at its lightweight, great handling, and cute looks. Everywhere you go, people stare and wave. This bike seems to put a smile on everyone's face. It is the most common motorcycle bought by first-timers. In Europe, where A1 license holders are limited to 125cc, the Grom is one of the most attractive choices, being so sporty and nimble. In fact, the Grom has built a cult following with a huge customization scene. You can make your Grom into a cafe racer, adventure bike, enduro, tourer, or anything in between. There are big bore kits and performance parts galore available to soup up your ride, and race series for you to test your skills. You can race these things on or off-road without the fear of consequences you might face on more powerful machines, and on the streets it's hard to get a ticket even if you're speeding. How ridiculous would a cop look writing a ticket to a Grom rider? Are there things I didn't like? Yes. The seat is not great for long distances, but it's not really a long distance bike, and the mirrors gave me a great view of my elbows. Brooke didn't notice this as much, being quite a bit narrower. That's the price you pay for being able to squeeze through narrow spaces while city commuting. Yep, it's safe to say that both Brooke and I like the Grom. It's a stylish, well-put-together bike that exudes Honda's typical build quality. If I was commuting in the city, I would definitely consider it as an alternative to crowded and unreliable public transit. And if I was a new rider, it would be on my short list of first motorcycles. Either way, there's a huge social scene built around these bikes and an even bigger market of commuters in countries where motorcycles like this are not toys but family vehicles. I stand by my assertion that the Grom is the top mini moto if you're going to be riding mostly pavement, though I have ridden it on gravel and it did well there too. It's cute, well designed, and well built. It handles beautifully and has performance that is zippier than most of its competition. It doesn't look like a lot of motorcycle, but you can bet that with those sales numbers, it's being taken deadly seriously by both Honda and the rest of the motorcycle industry. I wouldn't be surprised to see more Grom clones hitting the market in the years to come, as Honda's revival of the Mini Moto has been so successful. So what do you think of the Mini Moto craze? Do you have someone in your life who wants to learn to motorcycle on an unintimidating platform? And what bike would you choose for that job? Please share your thoughts in the comments, and remember to embrace motorcycles of all sizes and shapes. The more of us on the roads, the more awareness of motorcycles altogether, the safer we all are. Happy riding, everyone!
If you're interested in any of the gear that Brooke and I wear or use, or the camera equipment we use to film this channel, the links are below. Everything listed there was bought with our own money and we are not sponsored by any company. However, the links below are affiliate links and the channel is paid a small amount for referring you to shop at no additional cost to you. We do not recommend any products that we are not satisfied with ourselves, but we do strongly urge you to do your research and select the correct size for items like helmets and clothing. As always, thanks for watching, your support is greatly appreciated. Please hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. And whatever you ride, enjoy it. Wave at other bikers no matter what they're riding. We're all part of a brotherhood and sisterhood. Keep the rubber side down, shiny side up, and may the spokes be with you.